Welcome to the Sacred Emergence podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Emergence. It's Michelle Wong here, and I'm so excited for today's guest. I have the honor of introducing you to a dear friend of mine, Camila Fandino, who is a high ticket diva, meaning that she teaches women especially how to create high ticket offers so that they can be incredibly successful in their business and live the life that they want. So welcome to the show, Camila. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hello, Michelle, and hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. So exciting to be here with all of you today. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you. And like, even before we hit the record button, we were just talking about like your work and what you do. And so you're all about sales, high ticket sales, but you do it in a way that I feel like is so feminine and I would say goddessy. Like it's got like, you're doing it in a way that is very compelling and attractive. And, this podcast tends to be more on the spiritual side of things, but for me, like I'm all about business and spirituality and like all the things that make us incredibly successful and abundant human beings. And so I thought you'd be perfect to talk about sales and looking at money and all the things where I think like as spiritual people, sometimes we can feel bad. Like there's like this, maybe like a story that plays out that, oh, I like sales isn't good. I'm bad at sales and like, I can't sell, like all the stories. But your magic is in helping people really rise and sell from a place of joy.
You've said it well. You've said it well. That is my jam. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in my business, a lot of things that I support my clients with. But really the focus is sales and supporting people to have a business that feels very aligned with who they are. Really, I believe, it's my belief that every person has a, 7-figure business inside of them. And so when someone really has that calling, if that's what they really truly desire is to build a business that's profitable and impactful, then what I love to do is help them really to come up with the best strategies to, bring that out, right? Like bring that amazing potential that they have, help them to create amazing offers that do command a high price, and then help to put it out in front of the right audience and sell that from a really authentic place. So that is what I do. Yes. Mm-hmm. And you're right. There's such a spiritual component to all of this. It's not, just selling for the sake of selling or closing or something like that, which it's just a term that makes me, just gives me chills because it feels so icky. Mm-hmm. But it's really teaching people that sales is a beautiful, like sales to me is love. And so that's where I come from.
I love it. And like, yeah, like sales as a spiritual practice. Like, I feel like it's actually real when we're coming from a place of alignment and love. So I love that you said that. Well, how did you get into the work? Like, do you have a story behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my whole adult life, like my career has been in business and in sales. So before I was a coach and I mentored other people, and I had a corporate job that was, I managed large sales territories, basically, all over the world. And I got to do some really, really fun things. I got to travel a lot. My last territory that I managed in a corporate job in a corporate setting was out in the Caribbean. And it was really fun for 3 years. I got to travel all over. I lived in the Caribbean basically for 3 years. It was a lot of fun. I got to see some places that you can't even really put them on a map because they're so tiny. So I did all of that, and I really enjoyed my clients, and I really enjoyed my life, right? Like doing the work, doing that kind of work. But the reality was that I always felt like something was missing. Like I felt that there was something more that I should be doing with my life. And at that time, I was going through some of my very own challenges with my health and things that were quite difficult, that weren't quite working with my health. And I couldn't really get any kind of help or support or answers from the regular medical community. So that forced me to look really deeply at myself and really become my own advocate in my health journey. And so I found health coaches that way, and I found that coaching was a thing. And I immediately felt like, oh my gosh, this is the thing. Like, this is the thing that I've been looking for. This has been, the answer to these prayers for so many years of how do I get to find like the deep work, the deep soul's work that I'm here to do in my purpose. And then I found that. So I immediately enrolled in health coaching school, which was so much fun. It was a perfect initial fit for me into coaching, into this industry. And then eventually I left my job. I became a health coach, and I did that for a couple of years. And I felt and I thought that like, hey, I have all of the sales background, and I have a master's in business, and like all of the things are going to just work out great for me to become an entrepreneur, which is what I always wanted to do. Is I want to become an entrepreneur and really help people. And then I very quickly realized that it was really hard. It was nothing like what I thought, like it would be. I was like, oh, I have this business background, and my work, my career has been so entrepreneurial. And then I'm like flat on my face, like, just dusting myself off and saying, what the hell am I doing? So it took becoming very humble and really very open to accepting help from other people and other coaches. But eventually I got it. It took a lot of literally blood, sweat, and tears at that time to really actually get it, right? Like I had this vision in my mind about how it would be. It wasn't like that, but very quickly I was able to kind of redirect my energy and my focus and get the support that I needed. And I did health coaching for about 2.5 years. And I had trained under Tony Robbins directly with his coaching team, like to become a coach for their organization. And I met so many amazing people while I was there, and had the opportunity to come and also join a very elite team of salespeople, with my background and everything in sales. And so that's how I just jumped right into really becoming an expert in coaching sales in the high ticket space.
Okay. So hold on. Yeah. I had no idea about your Tony Robbins background. So did you do sales for him, like his team?
No, that was actually training, like with their coaching team to become a coach for the Robbins. It's called RRI, so Robbins Research International, and he has a team of coaches world. So that's also a very elite team of coaches all over. And so I got into that program, and I did that for a while. And that's where I met some of these people that that's where I really got into like the behind the scenes of the coaching world. And how I eventually got into this team of, salespeople. I was the only woman in this team, and I was in it for 2 years. And I mean, that was like high level, sales team structure, very, very organized, lots and lots of calls. I have done a total at this point of almost 3,500 sales calls. So it's a lot. had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people all over the world. And that gave me just really amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, like I was the only woman.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So I was the only woman in our team. And that really gave me such an amazing opportunity. I mean, the guys were so incredible. They were really awesome. And then me being also the only woman, I was really the one to bring in that feminine energy. And a lot of people actually wanted to just speak to me because I was the only woman. So I really got a sense from that experience of what really compels people to buy, especially at a high level, right? So our offers were somewhere between like $10,000 and like $17,000, $18,000. So just really at a deep level in one conversation, what compels people to buy? What's the psychology really behind it? And so that was just really, really awesome. And then I did that for a couple of years. And then I knew that it was just time to be out there on my own, especially seeing how much people struggled in general, but specifically women, with the very, very masculine structure. Mm-hmm. And, they felt very unnatural and very pushy. And a lot of people were struggling. And I really saw such an opportunity to come into this space with a really fresh perspective and with all of this experience already in the field, and having sold at that point, I sold almost $3 million worth of, these high-end programs. So it really just gave me a look into things in such a different way that I felt compelled to get out there and do it on my own, in my own way, also just paving my way, differently from what other people were doing in the industry. So, yeah.
That's amazing. I love that you were the only woman. Like, that's awesome.
The only one. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. And so like from that experience, then you decided to have your own business coaching. Do you coach everybody or just women right now?
Yeah. So I started out again, seeing, oh my gosh, women are really struggling with sales. Women are really struggling with some of the structures that are taught to them, and being told in a lot of ways, hey, if you don't do it like this, like you're screwed, your business is done and it's not going to work. Mm. And I'm sitting there thinking like, that is not true. Like, I know that's not true. I know that there's so many different ways to do things, and basically they all work when you're aligned. Mm. So my initial goal was to support women. But then what was really funny about it is that a lot of men actually reached out as well. So right now, most of my programs are for women. But then in my private coaching and in my masterminds, I am accepting men. So I am working with men in, those higher level containers as well, because hey, they're here. They also desire to do this work, and they're called to me to work with me directly. So if that's the case, I am going to, open things up for them as well.
I think that's awesome. I feel like, especially if you come from a more feminine energy of sales, like it's needed. And I feel like the feminine energy is really inviting. Like, that's just like my experience. Like, I don't want to be pressured into buying something, like, get away from me. And so I love that you're teaching something that is more of like, when you're selling in alignment with who you are, then it doesn't feel like selling, right? Like, you're really offering a service. So an opportunity. So, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it's kudos to the men who are reaching out to you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that they've done in general, like men in general have done a lot of sale. See, that's the thing. It's like, usually people perceive that sales are something that gets done to other people. Right? It just feels like this thing that you do. But in reality, to me, like, yes, there's things that you absolutely have to get done, and strategies and structures and things like that go into selling, with the more like masculine energy side to things. But there's also such a flow, and it is definitely an energy. Like, sales is a frequency. Money is a frequency, right? It's a calibration. And so for me, just understanding that, is really, really important. And so if men have done other trainings and they're not really working and they don't feel aligned with those, then I'm just happy to provide a really different and more open perspective that, has a better chance of working for them.
So what would you say, like, would be different, like a woman coming to you for like, okay, like I'm sucky at sales, but I have this, like, maybe it's a coach, like a health coaching package. And it's funny that you mentioned health coaching, because I know a lot of health coaches and their business fails because they're like, people don't seem to really want it. Like, like they struggle. And I feel like health coaching is so beautiful. Like we need more health coaches, and yet there's a struggle to get their business started. So like, how would you guide someone, or what's the differentiation?
What do you mean? What's the differentiation?
Like like there's the hardcore, like sell your service. I don't know, like fear-based. I don't know, like talk
Sure.
about all the pain points. So like, if someone comes to you, like what's different about work? Like, like what's the piece that would really help someone?
Yeah. So that's a really great question. And from my perspective, most everything that I do is geared towards premium packages and high ticket sales, right? So it's very, very, very different to sell like a, $150 session or a, $250 like mini program than it is to sell a 5,000 or 7,000 or 10,000 type of package. You know what I mean? Like the psychology of it is really, really different. And what compels people to buy at the different levels is also very different. So when people come to me, they know that they just want to be able to charge more money for their services, and they want to package them in a way that will be, very compelling. So that's the first thing that we do. We work on, the mindset is work that we do throughout. That's really kind of, a non-negotiable when it comes to sales. But we really also just hone in on what is it that you do? What problems do you solve and do you fix for your clients? Because when people are willing to pay more and more money, right? Like the more they're going to pay you, the more that they need to feel that you can help them to solve a problem that they're having right now, whether in their life or in their, in their business. Case of health coaching, something related to maybe their weight or their health or, whatever it might be. So one of the things that we really get very, very clear about is, who you serve specifically, who is your ideal client and what problems do you solve for them, and then really get very, very clear on the messaging of your offer, the structure of your offer, and the messaging of your offer. And then we create really a transformational offer. Because if you're going to sell anything for a premium price, you have to truly provide a transformation, and not just something that would be kind of nice to have for the person. It really has to be something that's compelling enough that will really prompt them to make a larger investment with you. So that's very different. And then we assess, right, like based on who you serve, what your offer is, the pricing. We get very, very, very clear on price. So it's not just like, here's what happens when you get on a sales call. We do that too, but then there's these other pieces that we need to make sure that are in place first. And then from there, I teach different strategies for selling, because a lot of what I've done is sales over the phone, which are very, very, very effective. I walk them through basically a syntax. They learn a really, really nice syntax that's very customized for them, that will walk them through how to take the person from maybe not even really knowing who they are and what they do, into at the end of the day saying, oh my gosh, this is so great. I really want to come and work with you. So it's really a holistic approach. And then we really look at what's the best and most aligned way for you to sell. And we maximize your current potential and turn that into actual, sales, like badassery where you just
the diva.
Yes, you turn into, the high ticket diva that's inside of you, and really start to sell a lot more. So some of it is, strategy, tons of it is mindset, but we do lots and lots of energetic work as well around money, around receiving, about your own beliefs, regarding money and what's possible for you. Because if you don't do that work, and if that's not really like clean in your energy, we can have the best strategies and it still won't work as well. So that's what we do.
I love it. I love that it is a holistic approach. And even like what you were saying, like there's so much integrity in how you're guiding your clients and your programs, because it's like a high ticket offer. And you're saying it has to provide it has to genuinely provide this level of transformation, versus like, I'm going to offer a $10,000 program because that's what all the coaches are doing. And so I appreciate that. Yeah. And I feel like as women, it's like to see themselves as being able to offer something that is high ticket. I think it raises their empowerment of themselves, right? Because it's like, well, can I really do that? Like, I think that's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It's really cool. It really requires that you level up your confidence, that you level up your personal power. And, it might feel easier to sell something that is, maybe a lower level type of package and things like that. But in reality, for me, like I said, knowing that everybody has this, at least 7-figure business inside of them, if you have the courage to really step up and that you can help to solve a major problem that people might be having in any area of their life, their business, their health, their relationships, then we can turn that into this beautiful gift for the clients that you're going to be serving, as well as for you. And that feels like such a beautiful purpose for me also in my life, to be able to give people that opportunity to be like, here, let's walk through this together. Let's figure out, how you can do this for you, as well as, for other people, because you have it in you, you're capable. You just have to figure out, like, you just have to learn how to do it, and how to have this beautiful internal belief in yourself that you got this. And it gets to be a lot of fun, actually.
I'm sure, especially it's like someone who gets their first sale. It's like, oh my God, this is happening. Yeah.
Yes.
What would you say might be like the most common thing you see that, like, I'm wondering if it is like the self-confidence, like what's the most common, like, I guess, mindset shift that women need, or even men in their sales approach, that can really help them, that they first don't have?
In terms of mindset, a lot of times what I see that people, show up with, is that they are all in their head about their own fears based on their own belief systems. So for example, they might do a call, they might get on a sales conversation with someone or whatever. But like, they might be saying all the things, like, I don't know, reading from a script or whatever, and like saying all these things that sound really good. But then underneath, there's this internal conversation that's going on, and they're saying things like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, what if this person doesn't buy? What if no one buys from me? What if, they get offended when I actually say the price? Like, what if they think that it's too much? What if? And usually these what ifs are pretty disempowering and pretty discouraging. Like, they're not really supporting you in making more sales. Like, oh my gosh, what if I can't, like, this doesn't work and I have to end up going back to a job? And if you notice, like, what all of those fears really at the end of the day have you at the center of them. Because like, what if people get uncomfortable? What if I offend them? What if what if they think it's too much and like they tell me that they're not going to do it and it doesn't really work out? So in some really interesting way, you're very concerned with you. You're not really concerned with them. And when you're able to get yourself literally out of the equation and realize that these are your own blocks that you have to work with as part of your work as an entrepreneur and as, a mature business owner who can, really like own the entire sales process, navigate through it, own it, be in your power about it, you're going to have to do that internal work. And the first thing really, like if you're already having sales conversations, is to ask, stop the conversation and start asking different questions, and ones that get you outside of, because you're in the middle of them. So you need to move away from those questions and really ask more questions like, what happens if this person doesn't get my help? What happens? I know that I can help them and I'm too afraid to step up and really be in my power for them. Right. So it really shifts the perspective from like your own fears and your own limitations because of your own, your patterns growing up and all the things that might be very unconscious that really come up during the sales process. And then focusing that attention on them and realizing that you're here to serve. Your sales are not about you. And even though you might have created your business because of desires that you have, right? Like your offers and the things that you do in your business, they are here to serve other people. So the faster that you can figure that out and that you can really realize, I'm here to be of service and I'm here for them, I'm going to put myself outside of this equation and just really, be in my power for this person because they need me right now.
I love that. That is so service-based. Like that is service-based. It's like, hey, it's not about you. It's about how you can support this other person. So take yourself out of it. That's amazing. That's a really good, I guess like not mindset switch, but kind of, and still like you still have to do the inner work so that you are not leading by the doubty thoughts that run so much of us. Yeah.
Definitely. Because even if you're saying all the right things, right? Like you're going through whatever the script is saying, there's this other conversation that happens in every sales interaction where like you might be, over here having a conversation with the person, right? With your prospect on the phone or through Messenger, whatever. And there's a conversation at that level, but the deeper conversation is happening at the energetic level where words are not exchanged. But there's no substitute really for cleaning up that energy, because if you don't, then you're going to be wondering, oh my gosh, why do I keep getting the same objections? Why aren't people, why is everybody saying no? And then you're fulfilling the prophecy that, based on the questions that you're asking yourself, and you don't even know that you're doing that. So it's such deep work. It really is. But, if you go into entrepreneurship, you have to be courageous enough to do that work. And then the reward at the other side of it is amazing. But it just has to be done.
I love it. Do you have any I know you do because I've seen them, like success stories that you want to share from like people who were maybe like they were doing smaller packages, to like, oh my God, I'm going to like now offer a high ticket offer, and what it was like for them?
Sure. Absolutely. So yeah, there's a client of mine, she comes to mind right away, and she's a therapist. And her focus is relationships. So marriage, specifically marriages, and helping people and supporting people when they are going through turmoil in their marriage. And so, she was a therapist for the longest time. She had an office and she would see couples in her office, and she would charge kind of the traditional, $100 an hour, things like that. And at some point after doing that for several years, and she had 2 younger children, she was like, I just can't really do this anymore. It's just not supportive of my life. It's not supportive of, my children's upbringing right now. Like I need to be there more. And so she learned the structure for actually creating a high ticket offer. and learning different ways of lead generation and things like that. And so she started charging, she has a 6-month program right now, and she started charging $5,000 for that. So it's a little bit of a hybrid. There's pre-recorded content that people go through, kind of like what everybody needs to know across the board to get all the basics and to just know the basic strategies to be able to start making some shifts in their marriage. So there's a pre-recorded component, but then there's also a live component in a group, as well as some one-on-one. But rather than it all being, one-on-one sessions all the time and that's it, she is leveraging, right, some of the other assets like the pre-recorded content and the group interactions and all of that with some one-on-one. So it gives her an opportunity to serve more people without burning herself out and still having time. She started at $5,000, then she went to $7,000, and now she's at $9,000.
Wow.
In her offer, and we just built her team, her sales team. So that was the next level for her, was just really to go through that process of having, some real support from other people, that it's not just her doing sales, because that's not why she's, why she wants to be in business. It's not just to be selling all the time. And so we just built her team. She has 3 enrollment coaches right now that are working with her. They're completely booked out right now. And now there's, a whole new phase of her business. So she's been making in the last year pretty consistently between like $20,000 and $60,000. I'm sorry, between $30,000 and $60,000 per month.
Oh,
but
amazing.
now with the enrollment coaches, I mean, that there's 3 of them, that's going to triple. So that is, we went through the process of like building, just starting, then growing, which is also my philosophy. It's like you build, then you grow, then you scale. And once you're really in the scaling phase, then you can just fly. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's so incredible. Like, I feel like, even like hearing $5,000 for 6 months, that's such a good price. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's like, I just feel like I love that just how you were saying it was 5,000, 7,000, 9,000, and then continue to grow. Like, I mean, I feel like in the coaching world, like a really good coach can help you transform so much. And it is an investment, and it's also worth it if you find one that you're really aligned with. And I feel like there is an energetic exchange. Like if I'm only paying like $100, it's different. Like I don't feel I'm being called to up level and step up. So there has to be like, the transformation is in the transaction. I've heard experts say. And so I so appreciate your work, because like more women need to have that, so that there can be more freedom rather than being stuck behind an office. And like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is really the time, like with COVID and with really moving into a really digital era at this point, which I feel is exactly what's happening right now. We're stepping into the digital era. And post-industrial and all of that, like all these different things are just massively changing, where everybody's going to be online. There's people right now that are losing jobs, and people that this year have lost jobs, and they're not going to recover those jobs. So they either have to find new skills and to be able to enter the workforce again, or they need to step into entrepreneurship. One of the things that I felt really proud of this year is that I know that with the work that I do, whether someone does need to learn a skill, and sales is something that's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. So people really need to know and understand the selling process. So whether you're learning how to sell and be very confident and be the best salesperson that you can be, whether it's for yourself or because you are stepping into a role in which you're going to be supporting someone else in their business, and really getting creative during this time of transition, that I feel that that's so important right now. that we support each other and that we are guiding one another through this time towards a better future. So yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. So how can people learn about you, your offerings? Tell us all the things.
Yes. So the best place to go to connect with me and to learn more about not just what I do, but also just receive support is my Facebook group. I have this group that is called the Money Lab, High Ticket Selling for Female Coaches and Entrepreneurs. So if you just type up the Money Lab, it usually just shows up. But it's the Money Lab, High Ticket Sales for Female Coaches and Entrepreneurs.
I'm in that group. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's super fun and like you're amazing. So I just love connecting with you in the group.
Thank you. Yes, I know. I see you in there and we're always exchanging messages and all the things. So I do a lot of trainings in there. I try to pop in and do trainings 2 to 3 times a week because I really feel that, again, having this sense of sisterhood, of connection, of community right now more than ever is so incredibly important. And so that's really the place that I hang out the most. In terms of, sharing about business and sales and mindset and strategy and all the different things.
Amazing. I'll definitely share your
Yes.
the Facebook group in the show notes and so people can learn more
Love
about it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then and for people who like for the non-women, for like the male listeners, how can do you have a website or?
I do. Absolutely. I have a website. So my website is camilafandino.com. Pretty straightforward. Yes. And there's a way to connect with me there as well. If people just, want to directly connect with me and learn about my offers and all the things. And then also, honestly, my personal Facebook is not really that personal anymore. There's so many different super aligned friends and amazing connections in there. So that's another place as well. If you just type up Camila Fandino on Facebook, you'll find me. And you can connect with me there as well. I'm in my private messages a lot these days because I do have a lot of conversations going on in there too with people. And that's another great place to connect more directly with me. But really to just be kind of like in my vibe and my energy and really learn more about sales, it's the group, and then more directly either on my website or in my private messages on Facebook.
Amazing. I'll share all the links in the show notes so you can all check out Camila's work. And thank you so much, Camila. It's always a pleasure to connect. And I just love your work and so appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I love the work that you do as well. I mean, it's been amazing since we had our human design reading I've absolutely loved it. So I just love who you are, how you show up in the world. And it's such an honor to be a guest here in your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Like Camila is a powerhouse. So if you already didn't know that, like her chart confirms it. Oh my goodness. Amazing. So if this resonated with you, please share it. You can tag us on Insta stories and all the things. And thank you so much, Camila. And for those of you who are listening, tune back in next week and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Join our free private Facebook group community, Sacred Emergence, to receive more connection, guidance, and support. And take part in our 5-day Inner Confidence Challenge to not only boost your confidence, but to help activate your inner leadership. Details in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing this with others who can benefit. Until next time.